Hey, good morning. I've made a video about this before, and it really bothers me. It still bothers me, and that's the fact that we don't have term limits in the House and the Senate. And if anybody thinks that, you know, our congressmen and senators are going to say, "Oh yeah, vote me out of a job, I'll put that up," hey, you're crazy. So we need to start a movement so we can get this on the ballot, so we can vote some of these sons of bitches out of a job. They have done nothing but hinder growth for the middle class. All they do is they subsidize the poor, don't give them any avenue and means in which, legitimate means in which to get themselves out of poverty. They allow them to live in Section 8 housing for generations, unmarried, popping out babies like there's no tomorrow. I mean, some families have, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 kids and no dad. And, and most of those kids are fathered by different dads. No accountability for the dads because the dads don't work. They're on welfare, so how are you going to penalize him? You're going to take his benefits away? Tell him he's got to live out on the street till he finds a job? Till he can support the kids that he does have? With a woman that's willing to spread her legs for anybody? Because she gets more money in benefits. When you see people on EBT cards go to the grocery store and they load up 2 and 3 grocery carts full of stuff, lobster, this, that, and what have you, that a lot of American families cannot afford. I'm serious. A lot of American families cannot afford. They're just above the poverty line, but not enough to where they can get benefits. And in some cases, these poor families don't even have insurance. So it's just there's such a dynamic in this country of the who's, the what's, the who's got what, the have-nots, and that sort of thing. So. I grew up poor. I grew up even, eating government cheese and powdered milk, I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like to have nothing but cornbread and hot dogs, not for just one night, for several nights, And it's not that my dad couldn't do better. He certainly could, but he was more fixated on his Vietnam trilogy and poor me and poor, just wallowed in self fucking pity and he's a functioning drunk. He had a job. It was a construction job, supervisor's job, and but it's just like, he could have earned so much more, way more, but nope, he chose to wallow in self pity, screw his family. He was probably the meanest, pardon my French, the meanest motherfucker as a young man could ever grow up to see and have as a father. Just a horrible individual. And so I had to endure that for 20 years. 20 years of that crap. And but going back, having lived under that, lived around it, being around poor people, and not just white but black as well, I just don't, I've seen it, and I don't have a stomach for it. And I've worked my way out of, that being poor and being dependent on. I've never not had a job. Never not had a job. The longest I was unemployed was 2 weeks, and this was back when I was in high school. And you name it, man. I've done it. I've painted. I've shoveled cow shit. I worked at the animal show. You name it, I've done it. And I've pumped gas. I've done all kinds of stuff. And then one day I just decided, I'm just not going to do this anymore. And I cracked the whip and got a little serious. And as far as work goes, and wound up getting a good job, 2 good jobs at the same time, which set the stage for me to get one good job. And that's the one good job now that I've had going on close to 30 years. And I've made more money than my dad, grandpa, and uncle have ever made, on my dad's side of the family, and that's through through prayer and perseverance, God's given me this body to work. And I'm a good sized dude. I used to be a skinny guy, and I think what I had to do is I worked 2 jobs, and I did a lot of walking, and they were fun jobs. I enjoyed it. Christ Fire Rescue, and I worked security out at Whirlpool, and for other venues, and just loved it, enjoyed it. Did executive protection, and enjoyed that tremendously, and was given some opportunities, and I probably can't mention the names on here, but through the security company I used to work for, just fun stuff. I just enjoyed it. So, there was a guy I saw down in Florida, and he was from Guatemala, and he built some of the most expensive homes now in Florida. We're talking 15, 20, $40 million homes. This guy, and he's first generation immigrant here. So he's got one daughter's a doctor and the other one's a CPA. And this dude literally had goosebumps on his arm. So he came to America legally. It says this is the greatest country in the world. And you look at what he's done, and both his daughters. And so where he's at in Florida, he could point down like I'm building this house, and then about 5 houses down, we're doing that one. And he's like, I don't have to advertise. I finish one project, I get a call for another one. Word of mouth, because I'm a hard worker. I love America. America's blessed me, and those are the kind of immigrants we need. Not these ones that jump the border and hide out and do drugs and sex traffic, and they're out, shitting in your, pardon my French, out shitting in your cabbage fields and so on and so forth. Those aren't the people we need here. We need people that really want to contribute, build America, build the American dream for themselves. That's what we need. Not sponges sucking off a system they don't pay into. So that's my early morning rant on that. I'll have another one in just a few minutes, because I'm about to get some coffee and run some out to my sweetie. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Like and subscribe, and leave a comment. Definitely give me a thumbs up. I'll see you on the next one.